My name is Suzanne Scurlock-Durana, and I'm sitting today with my good friend, Jody Tompros, who has a website, but also classes called Mindfulness Painting. And I want you to understand more about what she's doing because it's really a wonderful thing. Jody, could we start by you defining mindfulness painting for us?
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Mindfulness painting is an unconscious, intuitive process. And I think about it in terms of concrete when I say it's about creating, it's about the empowerment of yourself, and it's about healing. But it's when you think of mindfulness painting, you're in a state that's the right side of your brain, that's where things are not linear, where they're not linear. Think of it as a dream state. So it's not logical, things come in, you don't know where they came from, and you just allow yourself to get into a sacred space by slowing down your breath, quieting yourself, and then you take paint, paper, and a brush, and you just allow the brush to move in whatever way it wants to move. Sort of like this painting right here. This was one of my very first paintings, and I'm never considered myself an artist. So if you just look at just all of the ways that my hand moved, and you can't make it doesn't tell a story. It tells my inner story, but we can't really tell you what that is.
So really, if you're looking at this, it doesn't have a whole lot of what art would call composition. So if people feel like they can't draw or they can't paint, they've never painted before, then this is something that would really help them crack open their creative process.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there are things that it is, and then there are things that it's not. And so we call those the dragons of intuitive painting, that where you don't attach meaning to it. Because what you want to do is expand your thinking. You want to expand your energy. You want to expand your thought process to all the possibilities.
Yeah.
You can't control it. So an idea may come to your mind, and you don't know what it's going to look like until your brush actually paints what it's going to look like. And then it's meaning, control. Oh, Suzanne, I'm doing it again. Product. There's no product. You don't paint a picture so that you can take it home and put it up on your wall. That would be a different kind of painting. That would be painting for composition and technique and all of that. This is just your unconscious mind's
voice, if you will.
Absolutely. I call it my soul's voice. It gives you a space where you can just become alive. Because, we all, in our culture, we hold so much the emotion inside. And so it really gives you a chance to move the emotion from emotion to motion on the paper. And again, it's creativity. It's empowering because it gives you, it frees up the space inside of you, and you're not carrying all of the
undigested. Yes.
But like we carry shame with us, we carry grief with us, we carry pain, and painting it lets that go. And it is not art therapy, but it is very therapeutic because it unloads all of those heavy emotions, and
in a very creative way. I'm thinking about the fact that you have over 2 decades as a social worker. So you certainly know how to do therapy, but this isn't therapy.
No, in fact, we all have that inner critic in us, and that critic is always giving us a hard time. Mm-hmm. So you might get stuck painting something, and so like I'm stuck. I don't know what else to do. Okay, so what was I thinking when I got stuck? And so it's like, was that really true? I mean, really, all you're asking yourself to do is to pick a color and move it. It doesn't have to make sense. In fact, it doesn't have to have meaning. Again, you don't have control over it.
That's great. So what inspired you to go in this direction?
Because I was a person who felt like I had no creativity.
Ah.
I had no idea that this would crack me open to with color, with design, with figures, textures.
Yeah.
Well, I always knew I loved going for rides along the Shenandoah because the textures of all of the trees. And now here with painting, that's one of the things that, like, I see the texture in my paintings.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
And then, it's such a healing process. And it's such, my incredible teacher, Judith Forst, who I started with 11 or 12 years ago, she's the only person around here in my area that does this. Now, there are people that do it all over the country, but she's the only person around here. And I just really felt like I wanted this to live on past all of us.
Yeah.
And so that was what inspired me to then take, teacher trainings and facilitation and things like that.
Excellent. Excellent. And so you now teach classes?
I do.
Weekly?
I teach classes
weekend?
at our Wrestling Community Center, at the Herndon Community Center. I teach in my home, and who knows, I've given one-day workshops with organizations, Leadership Fairfax in Reston, a women's church group retreat had me come and spend several hours with them.
That's that's a way to take a group energy and break it open so that they can do better brainstorming, healing, integrating.
It works with organizations. It works for people just, wanting their own sacred space. We are so bombarded every day with the news, with things. And this just really, it's yours. It's your space. It's your time. And every time you go before a piece of paper, you have no idea what's going to come out. And then you have things like this. I have recently noticed that I've been painting women. Now I'm going into the final third of my life, and I've been painting women, and to me they look like archetypal women. So this is, an ancient, maybe Egyptian woman, and this is an African woman, and they're all archetypes of women who came before me. And that's a real connection for me. So that, you just find out stuff that, you didn't know.
Yeah. Thank you, Jody. This is wonderful.
Thank you. This is great. Thank you for listening. If you want more information, feel free to contact me. Go through mindfulnesspainting.com. Thank you.